Here's an example of one where we have to add and subtract rational expressions within the same problem. It says simplify, and we've got 3 over 2x minus 12 plus 1 over x squared minus 6x minus x over x squared minus 12x plus 36. So, of course, looking at the three denominators, they're all different. We need to obtain the common denominator before we can proceed. So, to start, we need to factor any of the denominators that need to be factored. It appears like all of them need to be factored. So I'm going to start by trying to factor the first denominator. We've got 3 over, a 2 can be factored out from both terms in the denominator of the first rational expression. So we've got a 2 gets factored out, and we would have x minus 6 in parentheses. The first denominator is now factored as 2 times x minus 6. For the second fraction here, I'm trying to figure out how I could factor the denominator. I see a common factor of x that I can factor out. So x gets factored out, that leaves us with x minus 6 in parentheses. The second denominator is now factored as x times x minus 6. And for the third denominator, let's see, it's a trinomial. I'm going to create two factors here and think to myself, let's see, x times x would make x squared. And what times what makes 36? That adds up to negative 12, and that would be negative 6 times negative 6. So the third denominator factors as x minus 6 times x minus 6. All of the denominators appear to be factored completely at this stage. So I'm going to try to figure out what the common denominator is. The least common denominator, looking at our three denominators, let's see, we definitely need a factor of 2 from the first denominator. I don't see any other factors of 2 that occur anywhere else. So we need a 2. What else do we need? We need a factor of x from the second denominator. I don't see another factor of x anywhere. And how many x minus 6's do we need? We've got a single x minus 6 in the first denominator. We've got a single x minus 6 in the second denominator. We've got an x minus 6 squared in the third denominator. We need two x minus 6's, x minus 6 squared. You always go with the highest exponent or the highest power on each factor for the common denominator. So we need x minus 6 squared for the common denominator. Okay. So each fraction now needs to be converted into something over 2x times x minus 6 squared. So I'm going to just copy the first fraction down and think, what do we need to multiply the numerator and denominator by in order to obtain 2x times x minus 6 squared? Okay. So what's the current denominator missing that it needs to form the LCD here? Well, it's missing the x, so we need to multiply the numerator and denominator by x. It's got the 2. It's missing the x, so we're multiplying the numerator and denominator by x. It needs 2 of these x minus 6 factors. It only has 1 of them so far, so we need to multiply by another x minus 6. Okay, so there's the first fraction taken care of in terms of converting it to the LCD. For the second fraction, let's see, 1 over x times x minus 6. Take a look at the current denominator and see what it lacks in order that it needs to form the LCD. Let's see, so it's missing the 2, so we need to multiply the numerator and denominator by 2. It's got the x. It has one x minus 6 only, but it needs 2 of those, so we need to multiply by an x minus 6 as well. And then for the third fraction, let's see, I forgot to copy the x here in the numerator of the third fraction. I apologize. So we have x over, it's already got x minus 6 squared on the bottom. So let's now think, what does it need to be multiplied by in order to form the common denominator? It's missing the 2, so we need to multiply the numerator and denominator by 2, and it's also missing the factor of x. We need to multiply the numerator and denominator by x. It's got the x minus 6 squared, so multiply the top and the bottom of that last fraction by 2x, and we're good to go. So we'll carry out all these multiplications. The first fraction now becomes, we got 3x times x minus 6. If you can mentally distribute the 3x through the parentheses, you can do that. I'm taking my time here and just writing it as 3x times x minus 6 all over top of 2x times x minus 6 squared. And then for the second expression here, we've got 1 times 2, which makes 2. So 2 times x minus 6 all over 2x times x minus 6 squared. And then for the third fraction, minus x times 2x, which if you can just do that in your head is 2x squared. That's fine here. You could write it as x times 2x and then do the multiplication on the next step. All over top of 2x times x minus 6 squared. All three fractions now have the same denominator. They've all got 2x times x minus 6 squared, which is what we needed in order to do the addition and subtraction. So what remains now is to distribute the 3x through the parentheses in the first numerator, distribute the 2 through the parentheses in the second numerator, and then combine all of the numerators, combine the like terms in all of the numerators as one fraction. Okay, so we've got 3x squared minus 18x all over the common denominator, 2x times x minus 6 squared, plus the 2 distributes through the parentheses, and we'll get 2x minus 12 all over 2x times x minus 6 squared. And then minus, there's nothing to do in the third numerator, so 2x squared all over 2x times x minus 6 squared. It's time now to write it as a single fraction. So as a single fraction over the common denominator, we've got 3x squared minus 18x. That's our first numerator. We need to add to that 2x minus 12, and then subtract from that 2x squared. So minus 2x squared all over top of the common denominator, 2x times x minus 6 squared. There's a bunch of like terms that need to be combined in the numerator. So let's see. 3x squared minus 2x squared just makes a single x squared, x squared. Negative 18x plus 2x, those add up to negative 16x. And we've got the minus 12 constant term. And that's all over top of 2x times x minus 6 squared. Okay. So we've combined all the fractions into one fraction. We've combined the like terms in the numerator. We might be done right here, but to make sure that we're done, we need to take a look at it and see if we might be able to factor the numerator. The numerator is a trinomial. Trinomials sometimes can be factored by breaking open two sets of parentheses and thinking about it. So I'm just going to give it a shot. I don't think it will. I'm just going to try for a moment. So x times x would make x squared. And I'm thinking of two numbers that multiply to give us a 12 here, a negative 12, that would add up to negative 16. And, you know, for 12, it could be 12 times 1, or 6 times 2, or 4 times 3. I don't think any of these combinations of two numbers will somehow add up to negative 16. It's just impossible. Okay, so the numerator is not going to be able to be factored. So our final result then is right here. X squared minus 16x minus 12 all over 2x times x minus 6 squared. Always at the very end, take a look and see if you can factor your numerator, because sometimes it does reduce. Here it doesn't, and so we're done.